So if you're wondering why I'm not driving, I'm so confused. I'm actually spoiling myself to McDonald's burger. I never have a McDonald's burger. I even more rarely have a Coke. I'm gonna have a Coke now. I don't know what to do. Hi guys, and welcome to the very first episode. Well, I hope just the first episode of I don't actually know what we're going to call this, to be honest. It might be a life lived with cars, Hannes's life with cars, or a petrolhead's life. But I'm actually leaning towards calling it something that I called my book that I wrote many years ago, Cranked Up Confessions of a Petrolhead. So I think Confessions of a Petrolhead is I'm probably going to go with that. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I might even give a copy or two of the book away randomly to nice comment. So if you're watching this video and you're expecting a review, specifically of the BMW M5 Competition, then I would suggest that you like this video and then leave, because I'm not going to do normal reviews in this series. I think if you want car reviews, just go to Cars & Koza, check out Cherry de Siena's car reviews. It's the best that there is. So what I'm going to do in this video series, I will every episode have a new car, a test car, and I will quickly take it for a drive. I will show you some images of it, I'll give you my opinion of it, and maybe a score. But I'm not going to go into detail with it. You can go and watch the Cars & Koza review on it. I'm just going to give you an overview. What I'm going to do is take that car and drive it to somewhere where there is a car that I'm considering buying. I do have what some generous people will call a quirky taste in cars. Other people will just call it mad. And so you're going to see a very eclectic bunch of cars. And through this process, I think we will not only find me cars to buy, also maybe some of my cars that I need to sell, but go for drives in really cool cars. I don't have a studio. I can use the Cars & Koza studio, but I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use this, the cars that I drive every week. This is going to be my studio. I'm going to use my cell phone, a lapel mic, and that's pretty much it. And then in the evenings I'll stitch it together into some sort of a shape, and that's going to be the video. So don't expect Hollywood blockbuster kind of production quality. This is going to be for your anoraks. Right, so in this week, in the first episode, I drive the new BMW M5 Competition, and I drive it to a dealership or a dealer who has a car that I've always been intrigued with. So the M5, right, is a muscle sedan, and the car that we're going to go look at is similar. It's a muscular sedan from the early 2000s, the C5 generation Audi RS6, and it's quite convenient that two muscular sedans in one show. Before we get to any of that though, time to take the M5 Competition for a drive, and as you can see, lovely day here in Cape Town. We're blessed with some great roads, and the M5 Competition certainly is ideally suited to these kind of twisty, smooth roads that we have down here in the Western Cape. This is the sort of facelifted LCI, what they call M5 refresh. And you can see it particularly in the front headlights, sharper detailing in there. I love the little blue detail as well. And then overall, you know, it's a car, features a lot of sort of gloss black detailing. It's also lower, surprisingly, and that's to bring the center of gravity down even more. And yeah, those massive brakes, they really do the trick. In general, not massively different in terms of its appearance compared with other M5s, but I think those in the know will appreciate the fact that, you know, there are some standout elements. BMW doesn't claim a lot of mechanical differences, but it does have a little bit of power. They claim 460 kilowatt, but some dynos in the States have actually put 460 on the wheels, so maybe it is understated in terms of its power. And at the rear, these lovely carbon fiber tipped exhaust outlets, and a very, very small little boot spoiler, just, you know, to round things off. But for your 2.5 bar, not a shouty car by any means, but very attractive. I can tell you already, the M5 Competition is very pleasant. It's quiet when you want it to be. It's incredibly powerful when you want to blast past some Toyota Etioses. It makes a lovely noise when you press the exhaust button, and is loaded with features. But then that is what it should be. It costs 2.5 million rand, and I'm sure you can get higher than that if you're a little bit over eager with the optional extras box. So this is a very expensive car. You're probably going to lose a lot of money on it when you buy it new. It probably is going to be quite a good buy a couple of years down the line if you get a good one. But you know, not so long ago I tested the Audi S8, and that was a 3 million rand car, and car prices are just mad these days. And for that reason, I find myself ever more intrigued and excited by the tremendous value that there is in the used car market. And so this Audi RS6 that I'm going to look at today, one of the most expensive sedans you could buy in 2004, one of the fastest sedans that you could buy in 2004, with 331 kilowatts, could be mine for 200,000 rand. And it's a good one. It's only got 110,000 k's on it. So you see my conundrum. Anyway, so that's the kind of discussions that we're going to have in this show. It does have a lovely grunt, this thing. Sort of a wave of torque. I must say, compared with, you know, when BMW changed from E39 M5 to the E60, the V10, the V10 had a lot of character, but in that transition, a lot of it became, the car became very electronic, and the car lost kind of, sort of its spirit, if you will. And but then when it switched from the V10 to the first twin turbo V8, that was by far worse. That first gen V8 twin turbo M5, I spent a lot of time in that car on a car shootout all the way from Cape Town up to Joburg, and the steering was so artificial. It felt heavy. It went into limp mode after, like, you know, half a lap around Kyalami. Just didn't, and I don't think particularly it looked good either. So it wasn't, to me, a very nice car. This, also twin turbo V8, it feels less clumsy. It feels livelier. The steering is much better. straight off the bat I can say I much prefer this car. So in summary then, the BMW M5 Competition, 460 kilowatt. Doesn't matter what engine you put that in, it's going to be fast. So yeah, it's fast. But it is an M5 Competition. It's not just the M5, it's the M5 Competition. As far as I know, you can't even buy the normal M5 here, because in South Africa we want the best. We want, you know, the top. So I do like sedans. And if I'm going to spend 2.5 million rand on a 4 or 5 seater, I don't think I'm going to buy an SUV. I'm just not that kind of person. I know the rest of the world seems to have switched to SUVs, but I just can't see myself spending that much money on like a X5 or X6M. Cayenne maybe, but not a BMW. And so for me, sedans in this kind of application still works. I think they've got real like cute car muscular appeal to them, which sort of in their looks I really like. I like the hunkered down look, the classical you know, 3-box shape. And BMW has done a really nice of fitting this one out properly. It really looks nice outside. The thing that I can't get myself to like about BMWs are the interiors. They're all the same. You can jump from an X3 to a 1 Series to a whatever. They just all look the same. And I guess there are good things about the familiarity. You can jump from the one to the other and you're instantly at home. You know you're in a BMW. But I just don't know if they do enough to differentiate between the different cars. And certainly if I spend 2.3 million rand, and I must say I think there's some options in here. Let's call it 2.5 bar on a car. I want an interior that kind of, you know, reminds me of that, which this doesn't really do. Powertrain wise, yeah, it does the job. It's very fast. And as I said earlier, I think compared with, for example, the first M5 that had the twin turbo V8, which was kind of a blunt weapon, this is much sharper, much better steering. It feels much more alive than that car. As good as the E39 V8? No. As good as sort of soul stirring as a V10? No, not really. But as far as the V8 turbo M5s go, yeah, this is by far the best. Right, we've arrived at Capricorn Park, where Freight Factory is based, and I've driven myself into a dead end. Let's try this again. So what I like about this RS6, or what theoretically appeals to me about this RS6, is that it's very low mileage. There's 110,000 Ks on it. It's only had 2 owners so far, but the second owner seems to have been quite an interesting fella. He, oh, there's a flatbed, must be on the right way. He, ex-SAF pilot, fighter pilot, who decided that, you know, after he took the car for service at Audi, and up to that point all the services were done at Audi, but he took it to Audi and he got the bill and he thought, not a chance, this is way too much. And since then he's been doing the servicing. Now, yeah, I'm not very mad about that. I think we've just arrived. Yep, there we are. Let's switch the camera around so that you guys can see. There's Motor Village. Nice 147 GTA parked there. S60 Polestar. Whew, look at that SL in there. Lots of interesting things parked around here. Look at that, 8 Series. And that's her nose, I think, poking out of there. Yeah, there she is. Not exactly sure what this blue is called. It is beautiful. So the original RS6 rims are available with the car as well. But I do think it looks pretty nice on these wheels too. I'm kind of torn. But what I like most about these cars are these haunches. Look at that. Nice and muscular built up there. So have a look inside. Now that is a very neat interior. Some interesting quirks with this car. One of the previous owners decided to replace the wood veneer with this fake carbon fiber. He's done it pretty well, but if you look on the edges, you can see that you know, it's not stock. So I would probably rip that off. And then here, yeah, there definitely were some kids in the back here, but again, that's not too difficult to fix. The standard spec on this car was just amazing at the time. Oh, pity about this steer. Apparently that was somebody's golf clubs or surfboards or something. But look at that. Heated seats in the back. Lovely roof lining. Suede. Right, let's see. Doesn't look like there are any warning signs. You can see there 111,000 Ks on it. Only the park light is illuminated. It's amazing how instrumentation has changed in the past decade or so. Look at that, shift paddles there. Quite short shift paddles, and electrically adjustable steering column. Rear window blind. I wonder if that works. Oh wow, it does. Look at that. That'll impress the kids. Let's do a sunroof test. Yeah, that works. Let's try the radio.
Every week I come here whenever we have a race and I'm like, this person won or this person did this. So that is absolutely incredible. Now Storm, before I let you know, or
heated
rather
seats
before
again.
I let you go, please may I ask you to explain again?
Let's try the ventilation. Yeah. Everything seems to be working. promising. Can listen to some CDs again. All the books seem to be in order. Yeah, this will definitely do for the school run. More than enough space for school bags. Very neat. Slightly stained floor, but that's alright, we can clean that up. So the RS6, the C5 generation, came with a 4.2 litre V8 twin turbo, just over 330 kilowatts back in the day. So yeah, it was a pretty fast car, also with the benefit of all-wheel drive, which the E55 and the M5 didn't offer back then, so it really made the most of the power, and it could really put the power down. It is very tight in here, not a lot of space to work around. So this car is going to go on the market for around 200,000 Rand, and what you probably would need to spend on it is have the headlights cleaned up and maybe polished. I think quite a lot of little stone chips and color issues around the front end. Quite a big dent there on the bonnet as well. So a respray of the, let's say, the bonnet, the bumper, maybe the front wings. Otherwise the body looks really good. I don't think there's anything to be done inside. Again, not really anything except obviously for the kiddies colouring on the rear armrest, and new tires. And apparently the choice is between Michelin and Continentals. So these are the wheels that the car is currently equipped with, 19-inch lovely multi-spoke wheels, and I do think they work quite well with the car, especially in this color. But thrown in are these, and if I do end up buying this car, I honestly do not know which I would prefer. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Right, in the Audi RS6, C5 generation RS6. So this is officially a 2004 model year, but it's a very early registration. So probably a 2003 build. Sadly, even though the car is very special, you still get this key, which is very much what you would get in a Polo. Anyway, it does unleash a 4.2 litre twin turbo V8 engine, automatic gearbox, sport mode with flappy paddles, and the guys at Road and Race has been generous enough to let me take it for a quick drive. It's actually a lot more civilized and quiet at idle than Ooh, it's got nice take up on the throttle. Certainly not slow off the mark, even in that kind of situation. I'm going to take it quite gentle to get her up to temperature, but oh my word, that is nice. meters out of the gate. Yeah, it is special. Such a nice torque delivery. I'm not even in sport mode. Whew, but it's getting hot in here. How does one turn on the air conditioner? Simple enough. It's not nearly as loud as I thought it, as I remember it being. But it certainly is swift. Steering is so typical of Audis of that generation. There's just no feel in them. Brakes feel really good as well. You know, this generation of Audis get a lot of flack for not aging well or falling to pieces and being overly complicated, and I know there are guys that say they just, you know, mechanics who wrap their hands together when they see a Q7 or a A8 or whatever pulling, because they just know it's going to be full of trouble. But this car, I have checked with a mechanic who specializes in these things, and he says they're pretty trouble free. The only things that you really need to take care of or to worry about, the dynamic ride control, which is a very complicated system. You can go read up on Wikipedia about it if you really want to, but it was a very impressive system when it worked, but unfortunately it kind of stops working eventually. Not maybe, it will stop working at some point, and that's why you know, a lot of guys recommend actually just taking it out and reverting to a normal kind of setup, and this is what this owner had done. Yeah, this car is quite surprisingly fast. It doesn't hang apart. And then the other thing you have to look out for is the turbos. The turbos can be problematic, and these ones turbos have been done. Yeah, I like it a lot. I must say, Audi has done a lot to improve the ride of their cars. This is still one of those old, more like wooden feeling kind of Audi rides. I mean, it's not unbearable. Does what these kinds of cars are so famous for doing well, which is to be kind of, you know, relaxed limousine if you want, when you want it to be, and when you want to get a move on, it's fast. It's really fast. Yeah, This was one of my fantasy cars in my early days at Car Magazine as a motoring journalist, and not disappointed. It's aged very, very well. Decisions, 200,000 rand, including a few other bits and bobs. But you know, to put it in perspective for you, 200,000 rand these days buys you, if you're lucky, an automatic Suzuki Swift GL, which I mean is a entry-level city car. And I know you can't compare the two in terms of reliability potentially and longevity and, you know, all fuel consumption, especially those kind of things, but this is a heck of a lot of car for not a heck of a lot of money. Shit, I want it. So am I going to buy this Audi RS6? I don't think I've got all the necessary information yet, so it might take a while, but this is where I'm standing at the moment. 200,000 rand for that amount of horsepower, that amount of luxury, and that amount of what seems to be a very well cared for and well sorted car, I think is good value for money. And I'm certainly interested. The only thing that's stopping me really at this point is the fact that, you know, I'm part of a couple of WhatsApp groups, as you are when you're a car fanatic, and you know, the guys are quite negative about fast Audis, particularly complicated fast Audis from the 2000s, and I must say it is a concern. So when I drove the RS6 today, I was particularly tuned to anything that wasn't supposed to be there. I almost kind of expected a new car, and it wasn't. There was a little vibration, I thought, that was specific to the transmission. When I shifted gear, it felt a little bit slippy, and also like there was a little bit of a vibration. So these things may turn out to be minor. You know, a good Audi mechanic, and they might look at a thing and they might fix it for, I don't know, 2,000 rand. It might be done. But on the other hand, the bills that might stare you in the face might be, you know, upwards of 40,000 rand. You know, really the sky's the limit with these kind of cars. So you really have to be absolutely sure that if you buy a hot Audi of that generation, that it is, you know, that it's right. So I've got some homework to do. I'm obviously going to keep you updated on that, and it's going to take the guys who's selling the RS6 some time to get back to me on that, but I'll get back to that. In the meantime, I'm going to keep driving cars and trying to find something that really piques my interest. The RS6 has my interest. I just want to be absolutely sure that it's hundreds. So, you know, I'm a motoring journalist. I'm not a millionaire, and 200,000 rand may not seem like a lot of money for that kind of car, but for me, 200,000 rand is a lot of money, and I need to justify it. So I'm going to take my time. I'm going to get the answers. I'm going to take it for a drive again, and you know, if it's sorted on the second drive, I'm going to take it to a guy who's on the one WhatsApp group that I'm on, who specializes in these cars. And if he says it's okay, well, you know, then I'm probably not going to sleep that night as I make that decision. But as it stands, the C5 RS6, I think if you're after some really affordable bang for your buck, and if you can find a good one, you really should consider it. I definitely am.